Hello and welcome to all the legates and citizens out there. I'm Joe. Here with me is my co-host, the Military Tribune, Dan.
Hello and greetings.
And how to start this review. Episode 5 is, oh my gosh, has got great setup for drama because we have to bear in mind this is a TV drama we're watching. You're supposed to have drama. Clearly, somebody needed to tell the producers and director that, and the writers. As the problem is that Piao's wife ends up, when presented with the fact that Piao is going to abandon her and go off to become a disciple. Now, my expectation was, okay, clearly she's going to freak out because you're abandoning me, is essentially what it is. How she should react because he is doing that. But you could bring her in as a female disciple, which would be an interesting plot thread. But on the other hand, you could have her, or should have her, reject Piao over this, angry with him and bitter, and where this brings in a crisis within the relationship. Piao still goes, but you could have some of the doubts and uncertainty and whatnot plaguing him for a bit. Later he overcomes it, and because his faith will have been tested, it'll be all the stronger later. And we could see the kind of man he will become. But here's the thing. This is all part of the hero's journey that I'm talking about. This is, the 1, 2, 3 step of how to write. And if I sound aggravated, it's because I am. We did not get drama. And I know people will say, what, you want conflict? Yes, conflict is what writing and reading and watching TV is all about.
It could have been a theme of this episode because earlier, during the conversation between John the Baptist and Nicomedes, John the Baptist brings up, you wouldn't believe Moses if...
He told you he had talked to a shrub. And the conversation between Nicomedes and... No, Nicodemus, I think it is.
Nicodemus? Yeah.
And, well, Nick, I'll call him Nick for short, because the name's getting us all confused, and I'm tired. I don't feel like thinking about it. So, Nick and John are talking. You could have them talking throughout the episode, in the dungeon or prison cell, I should say. And this could be an ongoing thing throughout this episode, with the next episode seeing Nick confronting the Pharisee who falsely accused John and whatnot. Jeez, I'm giving writing tips on how to write to Angel Studios. Wonderful. And probably none of them watch this review, because why would they watch such a tiny channel? But the trouble is, the Peter thing just peters out. It peters out. Like, this is not how you write drama. Now, arguably, Piao in this series can be compared to Lucius Vorenus from the Rome series. They have similar temperaments, although it has to be mentioned that Kevin McKidd is a little more charismatic. But the Piao actor is charismatic, to be quite honest. He's a very good actor. And, well, arguably, you have to make sure that your most charismatic actor is Jesus, because obviously, and, hey, actor is charismatic enough. The thing is, though, with Vorenus, when he comes home, he immediately makes an insensitive accusation against his wife. And he has a hard time connecting with her and properly sinking back into the relationship, into civilian life. And this leads to an endless amount of conflict between the two. And this is great drama as a viewer and as a writer to observe. Because as a writer, you're going to learn from this how to write your own drama and whatnot. And the idea is that the character of Vorenus struggles to find his faith, not just in higher power in Rome series, but in his wife. He has a hard time trusting in her. And he has a hard time trusting in other men, and just about anyone, because he suffers from PTSD from his time in Gaul. Piao does not have this soldiering background, but he's clearly been... He's clearly struggled and suffered quite a lot. And the thing is, her accepting him. This acceptance should be something that's an ongoing plot thread throughout the season, where they're struggling to find acceptance. Heck, you look at Niobe. in the Rome series. Her relationship with her sister is terrible, but partway through season 1, they find forgiveness with each other. And this is an ongoing plot point throughout the first season. The relationship and the hardships the sisters are facing, typically against each other, and then later, towards the end of season 1, they make peace. And it's a very beautiful scene when they come together. But that involved good writing. Clearly, anything involving good writing in this episode is allergic to... Anyone involved was allergic to good writing. Yeah, this melted my brain a little because it's just... You had great setup. And the dialogue was great. The entire setup was perfect. But nothing. And I'm still wondering how she's going to make a living without Pjell there. It's just... The conflict would have helped develop the characters for later, and later you sympathize more with them. And you see them as wiser because they've suffered and whatnot. It's not an absence of suffering that gives characters weight and that makes them likable. It is the suffering itself that molds them, that shapes them, that improves them in a way over the course of the story. As it is through the suffering that they climb themselves out of the dark. Well, it sends them into the dark pit, and then they have to climb their way out. And this is part of the hero's journey, the fall into darkness and the climbing out from it. And just at this point, read The Hero of a Thousand Faces. Read The Hero of a Thousand Faces. Joseph Campbell outlines how to write, how to create storylines, plot threads. And right here, you do not... This is just how you don't do it. Anyways, we've gone on for too long. The Marriage Arcana is somehow made boring. I don't know how you can make such a great story in the Bible boring when it's one of the most interesting early parts of Jesus' ministry. It's a very fascinating event. And it's been long debated for 2,000 years. And you made it boring. Well, that took some measure of talent to do. I have no idea how anyone could accomplish that. But then we get to episode 6, which actually wasn't so bad. Episode 6 was not so bad. I mean, after the disaster of episode 5, which was I can actually say is probably the worst episode I've seen in this series so far, which is quite the accomplishment. Mm-hmm. Episode 6 involves, some of the Pharisee drama. You have, of course, Matthew being a douche to Gaius, the centurion who's always protecting him. And I just like how Gaius tells him, when he's asked, what is it that said, I'm able to survive for 16 hours when you're not around, or something to that effect. How do you think you don't think I could survive 16 hours of the rest of the day without you being around or something? And you have guys who just tells him straightly, no, I don't think you could survive on your own. Which is really funny. And so far from what I've seen, yeah, actually, Gaius is the only one who's keeping Matthew alive, because Matthew's likely to, no offense, but get himself offed. He's not the brightest bulb in the package at times, and in this series. And Gaius is always bending over backwards trying to keep him alive. So Gaius, honestly, there's no way they're going to make him a villain or something, because he's clearly someone who is loyal to Matthew. Because he even says, there's a mob. We don't know the entire situation. It's in the east quarter of the city. You're not coming with me. I can't be guarding you and dispersing a mob at the same time. I can't answer for your safety, and I don't want to. We're closing up shop. You're going home. Lock yourself in your house. I want you safe, okay, Matthew? Gaius is a great guy. I actually watched the show, and I'm like, What a great character.
I like the drama with Matthew and Gaius.
Yeah, yeah.
Their storyline is really good.
Yeah, Matthew's a jerk and does not appreciate everything Gaius does for him. Clearly, this can be built up into a bromance, and a very important one. Like, and honestly, the idea of a bromance between a Roman centurion and a Jewish character at the time, considering what the Jews were going through at the time, this could be a very moving story. Like a different take of sorts on Titus Pullo and Lucius Vorenus. So, in that regard, the writing is solid here. Like, I just enjoy the fact that Matthew gets smack-talked by Gaius, but I just really like Gaius. The writing of the magistrate's just too cartoonish for me to take seriously.
And some of the language some of the lexicon he uses is very anachronistic.
Yeah. Yeah. The sermon by Jesus isn't so bad, but they stretch it out for so long. But the most important scenes in this episode are the two miracles. The first one is such a perfect scene with the leper. That was a great scene. That was a great scene. And what's more is that where the camera work is terrible in the next scenes with the Pharisees, like it's so all shaky and I can't get a clear view, and I ended up feeling a headache coming on. Like, I haven't, not even the Bourne movies have ever used that kind of level of shaky cam. But with the leper, it is the perfect scene. The camera work is good. The music is perfect. The fact that there's very few words used, they leave it to the music to convey the mood, as well as the expressions and everything. That was such perfect filmmaking.
And seeing the bulbs...
Not the bulbs. It's his bare bones there you could see, because it's rotted. This flesh is rotted.
Yeah, the skin healing itself, and
covering up the bones and sinews
and seeing the reaction of the apostles, like...
Yeah. The scene before that was a total waste of time, but the scene, like the discussion amongst the disciples, like who cares? But the scene with the leper was so good. That was a fantastic scene. Like, probably the best scene of the series so far. Wow. So, well, actually, the disciple discussion, in hindsight, not a complete waste of time, but, like, you don't really care. There's been so little effort to establish that we should care about the disciples. But that scene is so perfect. Then we get the second miracle, where the legs are healed. They completely flub it up. I wonder if it was shot by two different directors or something, because the second one, when he says, get up and take your staff and get up and walk and go home or something to that effect, the guy does not just get up like he does in the story. He's unable to get up. So the disciples pick him up, put him on his feet, and then he's able to walk, which completely destroys the scene. So it's just like, listen, if you don't want to do a second miracle in this episode, what are you even doing showing this scene? Like, come on, man. This is a great scene in the Bible, and you want to not do it. So, episode 6 was a pretty good episode. Episode 5 was terrible. So, episode 5, we're not even going to discuss about rating. It's a 0. Anyone who rates it above that is clearly being overly generous. One of the worst written episodes of all times in all of TV history. I have no idea how you can screw up that badly. I honestly don't. And let's not even get into the shaky cam. Episode 6, this is a mixed bag. The first half of the episode is really good. Actually, almost the entire episode is really good. It's just the thing with the cripple. Now, is that enough to completely destroy the episode? That's the question. And it's the last thing we kind of see, and so that is bad. But the rest of the episode was pretty good. So,
because as much as I liked some scenes and discussions in episode 5, unfortunately they not go through with what they could do. So, yeah.
0.
Episode
6.
6.
And I'm actually going to go so far as to say, Piao's wife, do not ever bring her back. If they're not going to bring in drama, and they're not going to use her as a foil to Piao, and use that to strengthen the bond between the two and show the suffering that men and women go through. You know, because the constants in life are loving and suffering. These are facts. If you're not going to embrace the side of things and, you know, good storytelling, don't even bother bringing her back. Who cares? I don't want to see her. And any scene I see, I'll probably skip, because what's the point? Because there's not going to be drama. But and if anyone says, so you're addicted to drama? No. I just know there's going to be that one person in the comment section. No. It's just when I sit down to watch a piece of television, I expect conflict and then resolving action and all that. Because, you know, the hero's journey. But episode 6. This is a hard episode to rate.
Yeah, because the highs are very high.
The lows.
There are some details that...
well, mostly the cripple thing.
The cripple thing, the anachronistic
language.
Yeah. Because episode 6 is an example of when they decide, okay, we're not going to do the preaching, we're going to do the drama.
They can do it right. Well, even the preaching wasn't so bad. Now, I'm actually going to defend it a little. It went on for a little too long. But, well, they could have had to... Well, actually, it didn't go on for... See, I don't even know how to react to some parts of this episode. Like, some of the preaching went on for too long. Other parts didn't. And...
I'm talking more... It seems like the production...
I didn't get the feeling they were too heavy-handed in this episode.
Yeah, I'm just saying, when they get heavy-handed, like in episode 5...
Oh, gosh. It destroyed the episode.
But when they veer away from that...
Yeah.
That's where it gets good.
Yeah. See, the production crew is like a government. I'm joking. When they get heavy-handed, it ruins an episode. And this goes for all TV. But when they loosen up the heavy hand, things are good. So... just a bit of a lesson to filmmakers and writers. Don't go heavy-handed on stuff. No one likes that. Don't preach to your audience. Let the story tell itself. So,
I am going to say 2 3/4.
I'm going to say 2.5. It is above average. Well, no, I'll say 2.1. It's just to say a little above average. That one scene with the leper. Wow, was that a good scene.
Yeah, that really jumps it up.
Yeah, and that was a great scene.
And admittedly...
How can you look at that scene and, like rate this episode below 2? Like, that's the real question, because that scene... Wow.
And I want to know more about the black woman.
I don't. Like... Okay, admittedly, she's beautiful. Like, wow. Hope she has a sister. I'm joking. But, actually, she was very gorgeous. Like, wow. The actress who plays Tamara. But I just think, like, there's no need to...
elaborate on her?
Yeah, I don't see the point. But, that's just me. Like...
That's fair.
Like, but on the other hand... If they do, sure. Someone that beautiful, get her on the screen all the time. But that said, like, yeah, like, I just hope there's more scenes like with the leper. Let's hope so.
Agreed.
Yeah, like, that was a great scene. And next up, we'll have for you all another review of the Rome series, because it's a near perfect series, sort of. Not entirely, but it's a really good series. And its episode 5 is better than this episode 5. I'm joking. I shouldn't take too many pot shots. But in all seriousness, this episode 6 was really good. So don't forget to smash that like and that subscribe button if you enjoyed this video. And even if you didn't,